Many North American Indians speak of giant men who once lived and roamed in the territories of their forefathers. All over what is now the US are traditions of these ancient giants. Over 1,000 accounts of 7-foot tall and taller skeletons have reportedly been unearthed from ancient burial sites over a 200-year period in North America. Newspaper accounts, town and county histories, letters and scientific journals have carefully documented this. So let's count down 5 discoveries that could prove giants exist. Scientists are remaining silent about a lost race of giants found in burial mounds near Lake Delavan, Wisconsin in May 1912. The dig site at Lake Delavan was overseen by Beloit College, and it included more than 200 mounds that proved to be classic examples of 8th century woodland culture. But the enormous size of the skeletons and elongated skulls found in May 1912 did not fit very neatly into anyone's concept of a textbook standard. They were enormous. These were not average human beings. First reported in the 4th of May 1912 issue of the New York Times, the 18 skeletons found by the Peterson brothers on Lake Lawn Farm in southwest Wisconsin exhibited several strange and freakish features. Their heights range between 7 and 10 feet, and their skulls, presumably those of men, are much larger than the heads of any race which inhabit America today. They tend to have a double row of teeth, 6 fingers and 6 toes. The teeth in the front of the jaw are regular molars. The Lake Delavan find was only one of dozens and dozens of similar finds that were reported in local newspapers from 1851 forward to the present day. It was not even the first set of giant skeletons found in Wisconsin. On the 10th of August 1891, the New York Times reported that scientists from the Smithsonian Institution had discovered several large pyramid monuments on Lake Mills near Madison, Wisconsin. The Times said Madison was in ancient times the center of a teeming population numbering no less than 200,000. The excavators found an elaborate system of defense works which they named Fort Aztalan. While all of the reports stated that the findings would be further studied and investigated, there appeared to be no published reports or conclusions about them. Lovelock Cave, known also as Bat Cave, Horseshoe Cave and Indian Cave, is located 20 miles south of modern-day Lovelock, Nevada. It's a very old cave that predates humans on the continent and in prehistoric times was underneath Lake Lahontan. In 1886, a mining engineer from Lovelock named John T. Reed was told by local Indians the legend of giants in the cave. They took him to the site to prove it existed. Reed was unsuccessful in getting an archaeological dig started immediately, but 2 miners James Hart and David Pugh realized the value of guano as an ingredient of gunpowder, and created a company to start digging it out in 1911. They stripped a layer of guano from the cave approximately 3 to 6 feet deep, using a pick and shovel with little regards to the artifacts, and shipped some 250 tons of it to the Hawaiian Fertilizer Company in San Francisco. Alfred Kroeber, founder of the University of California Anthropology Department, was contacted by Hart and Pugh when they reported finding prehistoric artifacts. This spurred the first archaeological dig of Lovelock in 1912, led by L.L. Loud, also of the University of California. A second dig took place in 1924, and after finishing the excavations, Loud collaborated on a report that was published in 1929. What Loud found was nothing short of amazing. Approximately 10,000 archaeological specimens were uncovered, including tools, bones, baskets and weapons. According to the report, 60 average height mummies were unearthed. Duck decoys among the oldest known in the world with feathers still attached and a sandal over 15 inches long were excavated. A donut-shaped stone with 365 notches carved along the outside and 52 corresponding notches inside was found, which some scientists believe is a calendar. Interestingly, radiocarbon dating done on follow-up visits found vegetable material dating back to 2030 BC, a human femur dating back to 1450 BC, human muscle tissue dating back 1420 BC, and basketry dating back to 1218 BC. Today's anthropologists call the people who lived in the area the Lovelock culture, with the period lasting some 3,000 years. Many archaeologists believe that the Lovelock culture was replaced by northern Paiutes. In 1964 in Ecuador, Father Carlos Vaca, a priest who also worked in hospitals, was called upon by the locals to look at some strange bones that had been discovered. What was particularly strange about the bones was their amazing size. Father Vaca took some of the bones from the mountains where they'd been found, and they remained in his home until his death. Austrian artifact researcher Klaus Donner was given permission to take the bones back with him to Austria to be examined, and to feature in an exhibit called Unsolved Mysteries. Klaus claimed that several experts have examined the bones and they do appear to be human. From the size of the bones they have, Klaus estimates that the person who they belong to would have stood 7.6 meters tall. In an interview with Project Camelot, Donner claimed that he subjected the bones to DNA tests courtesy of an Austrian archaeological DNA specialist, and that no strands of DNA could be obtained. This led Donner to conclude that the bones had to be over 10,000 years old at the very least. He also claimed in the same interview that the area where they were first discovered translated as Cemetery of the Giants from the local Aymara language. Ivern T Sanderson was a popular and respected zoologist who regularly appeared on television to disperse his wisdom. One of his strangest tales, however, concerned a letter that he'd received from an engineer working on Shemya in the Aleutian Islands in 1940 during World War II. The Aleutians sit between Alaska and the easternmost part of Russia, and divide the North Pacific and the Bering Sea. The US was using the island as a base for the potential and eventual conflict with Japan. They was in the process of building airstrips when they made a bizarre discovery. As they bulldozed hills to flatten ground, they came across a graveyard of human skulls and leg bones. They were, however, almost 3 times as large as a standard adult. The skulls measured between 56 to 61 centimeters from top to bottom, as opposed to the average of 20 centimeters. Sanderson stated he received a second letter from another member of the unit that confirmed the find and corroborated the first letter. Interestingly, both men stated in their notes that the Smithsonian Institution had collected the remains. Sanderson said that not only had the Smithsonian released no data on the find, but they denied that any such relics had ever been in their possession. Sanderson asserted that he believed each of the engineers' claims to be true. He speculated that they couldn't face rewriting all the textbooks, given their decision to lock away the discovery. One of the strangest of all the sagas relative to the mysteries of Death Valley erupted in the summer of 1947. The very same period in which the era of flying saucers took the entire world by storm. In early August of that year, Howard Hill of Los Angeles spoke before the city's transportation club and told a sensational story. It was an extravagant tale that described the work of Dr. Bruce Russell, a retired physician who claimed to have discovered in 1931 a series of complex tunnels deep below Death Valley. There was something very special and unique about these particular tunnels beneath Death Valley. According to the story told to Hill by Russell, the caves contained the skeletons of several gigantic men, each in the region of around 9 feet in height. Russell stumbled upon this with a colleague, Dr. Daniel Boovy, who Russell had worked with on archaeological excavations in Mexico several years earlier. Russell reportedly fell into one of the caves when the surface soil gave way beneath him. In Hill's own words, "These giants are clothed in garments consisting of a medium-length jacket and trousers extending slightly below the knees. The texture of the material is said to resemble grey-dyed sheepskin, but obviously it was taken from an animal unknown today." Upping the weird stakes even further, Hill said that while deep underground, Russell and Boovy apparently come across what they described as a ritual hall, in which were found unspecified devices with markings, similar to those now used by the Masonic Order. More bizarrely, the long-dead remains of both ancient saber-toothed tigers and mammoths were also found strewn across the floor of the huge hall. As for this below-surface realm, there wasn't just a few tunnels either. Hill revealed that then current estimates suggested there was 32 of them, and they ran for an amazing 180 square miles, covering whole swathes of Death Valley and certain parts of southern Nevada. As for the era in which the bodies originated, while no explanation was given as to how Russell had come up with such a figure, he estimated they extended back an incredible 80,000 years. Hardly surprisingly, the local media of the day loudly cited the story of April Fool's Day proportions. Rather incredibly, but some might say predictably, no one in the professional world of archaeology would even dare take the challenge to see the incredible evidence for his or herself, possibly fearful of being viewed as gullible and lacking in credibility. It was left up to Howard Hill to continue to speak on behalf of Dr. Russell, which he certainly did, until the story died a mysterious death, and Hill, Russell and Boovy mysteriously vanished into the shadows. So that was 5 discoveries that could prove giants exist. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.